But
I'm Investigator Cherry. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Obviously, what we're doing is we're just getting a lot of information, as much information we can, to try to narrow a focus of where the investigation needs to go. So, you know, it's similar to the movies as far as we got to dive in the victim's life, and we have to learn about Daniel as fast as we can.
Right.
Okay. So, this is basically you promising to tell the truth.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Investigator Cherry. I am conducting an official investigation as at this point as an attempted murder.
Okay.
Okay. Any false statements about material matters given by a witness under oath will constitute perjury, which is a first-degree misdemeanor according to Section 837 Florida statutes. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you are about to give me is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you knowingly make material misstatements of fact to me during this investigation, you will have committed the crime of perjury?
Yes.
All right, if you would just sign that. Well. Okay. All right. Obviously, I have your phone number.
Yeah.
What's your address? Okay. How do you know Daniel?
I know Daniel from law school. So I met him. I was still a law student when he moved down from when he was teaching up in New York, when he was engaged to Wendy. And I met both of them around the same time. Wendy had been friends, had gone to high school and college and also law school for part of the time with a good friend of mine in South Florida. So we met each other in the law school and started talking about South Florida, and kind of became, I guess, quick friends then. And then I started to get to know Dan. I didn't know them very well in law school, but they're also members of my temple. So I would see them when I came back up. I was a public defender down in Broward, and he would teach criminal law. So he talked to me a few times about coming and talking to his class about, I guess, what it was like to practice post law school. And then when I moved back, we talked a lot about getting together. And then him and I became close once I found out that they were divorced. I kind of reached out to him in terms of ways to raise my son Jewish. I'm in an interfaith marriage, so I kind of reached out to him in terms of getting some tips on how to do it on my own. And we started doing Shabbat dinners together and things like that. Just kind of became close.
Okay.
After that. And that would be in the last year.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Are you a lawyer now?
Yeah.
Where at?
I practice at the legislature. I do policy now, so
Okay.
I don't do trial work anymore.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. When was the last time you saw Daniel?
Last Sunday at the park. At Winthrop Park, yeah.
Okay. What were you guys just hanging out or
Play date,
play
yeah.
date with the kids?
He had just gotten back in town from New York and sent a bunch of us of the creative families a message, and there was a bunch of us there, actually.
Creative, you mean in
The preschool.
preschool?
Yeah. My son also goes there. So there was probably about, I would say, 6 creative families there.
When was the last time you talked to him?
That was the last time.
That was?
Yeah.
No communications via Facebook or?
I can check. I feel like that he had messaged about what he wanted to do for the boy's birthday, but I feel like that was before last Sunday, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But I can check. For you.
Yeah, if you don't mind,
No,
actually.
not at all.
Obviously, we have ways to, obviously
Right.
we can do Facebook stuff, but sometimes when you're actually friends and stuff, you have a little bit more information
Right.
on that page. I would mind taking a look.
It was, he messaged later that afternoon about going to Truesdale
That's
with the
Sunday.
kids, yeah. And I was cooking dinner for my stepdad, so I didn't end up going. But and then he had messaged. Yeah, the other time was Saturday, so he was talking about doing Truesdale or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, he was.
Can you
looking for-
pull up his Facebook?
Yeah. And I don't have a lot of battery. I tried to charge when I came up here, but.
He visited California last week. So says
I
Facebook.
guess, right? We definitely, we would see each other a lot at the park. We did a lot of play dates at the park. We did some Shabbat dinners together. We did synagogue stuff together, but there was not a lot of.
This Prof's blog.
Yes.
What is that?
That is, he started that blog. He
Mhm.
writes articles for that blog. And my understanding, I've actually never been on there. There's a lot of professors that do criminal law that all kind of contribute on the blog. So.
You wouldn't happen to know the passcode on his phone or iPad?
No. Hmm? That's New York.
No, no.
Oh, I think it's Play-Doh.
Play-Doh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Has he been unusually stressed in the last week or so about anything particular?
Not that I'm aware of, but like I said, there was a lot of people at the park. I was only there for about an hour, and we didn't get a lot of one-on-one time. The only downside to doing play dates like that is that you're running around with your kids, and so
right.
My kid likes to run around a lot by himself, so I wasn't really talking with a lot of people, and I definitely didn't get to talk to him much one-on-one, unfortunately.
Tell me about Wendy and the divorce and how that shook out.
Yeah, it was a pretty bitter divorce. I mean, I will be honest, I have never heard her side. Her and I have not had any one-on-one time since the divorce happened, so I know what he told me of his side. It was, my understanding was that pretty much just one day she filed and changed the locks and kind of, from his statements, it was not really expected. And then I think it was about, I'm trying to remember the timing, September, I think was when she moved out, and they finalized it on August. So almost a year and they were just about to go to trial, I know, when it settled. He never told me any financial, any stuff like that. I mean, the only stuff he kind of talked to me about was she wouldn't let him Skype and things like that when she had the boys and, things like that. But I mean, I know that it did shock him, and he
So it was like a sudden change of heart, according to him?
Yeah. And like I said, I have never talked to Wendy about it. Him and I, we would talk, but a lot of times, again, we were having dinner with the boys, and I tried to not talk too much when they're there, especially because it was pretty, they had been living separately for about a year at that point, but it was still pretty new. I do know in the last 6 months he had started dating someone up in New York, and that seemed to be very positive in his life. I also know Wendy.
You saw a difference?
Yeah. He was never, he was depressed, and he had a difficult time with it. And when I say depressed, it was just dealing with the change. Never, ever would have done anything. He loved those boys beyond all belief. So it was never, he definitely put his game face on and really loved every minute that he had the boys, and missed them terribly when he was gone. And so I think that was his hardest thing to adjust to, was being away from them. But I think there was just, I guess, hope again kind of started to set in. I really only talked to him once about her.
The
but
girl
he had
in New
been
York?
the girl in New York, yeah. And he went up there a lot. He was teaching up there. He was doing I don't want to say a seminar, but he was doing a class where he'd go up once a month and do a seminar or something like that. And he met her through that, and then would see her I guess once a month he would see her when he went up there. And I think she was coming down here some as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like she was. I also know Wendy's dating someone because she brought him to my son's birthday party at the park. I don't remember. I mean, I kind of remember what he looks like, but I don't remember his name or anything like that.
What is it? How long ago was it?
That was May 21st, I want to say. It was the middle of the week. Let's see. I don't know if there's date information on it. Actually, if I go to these, I'm pretty sure it was May 21st. Yeah, it was May 21st.
What did he look like?
He was tall, skinny. I'm sorry. He was definitely 5'8" to 6 foot. I'm short, so narrowing it down much. Right, exactly. Narrowing it down from that is a little difficult, but he was definitely lanky. Blonde hair, kind of. I don't want to say mohawk, but clean cut, but then hair kind of pull it up in the front, and then he wore glasses. I don't really remember what the frames looked like. Pale complexion, and that's about all I remember. I went through on the way over here. I went through my phone to see if he was in any of the pictures that were taken, and he's not. Okay. But I know she'd said they've been dating. I think she said she met him in October of last year, but aside from that, I don't know anything about him.
What so he teaches at the law school?
Yeah, he teaches criminal law and criminal procedure.
How long has he been doing that?
He's been at this law school he came in 2006, I want to say, I think. But then he taught at Harvard before then. I think it was Harvard. I'm pretty sure he taught at Harvard before. Okay. He's been teaching, I would probably say, for 15 years, I believe. Maybe a little longer, but.
And how's his style? Is he well accepted? Is he
Yeah.
Abrasive or?
I never had him. I have heard from other people that he is kind of a hard-ass professor. But that's law school also, so, most...
So it's to be expected.
Right. I did hear he was more intense than some other ones, which did come as a surprise to me because he's not at all like that outside of school, so...
Did he ever complain about any kind of students or anything?
Not to me.
Not to you?
No.
No,
but
who do you think he would confide in stuff like that at?
I would say friends that he was professors that he was friends with.
Do you know anybody like that?
I don't. But I graduated in 2007, and I moved back to South Florida, and then I came back up later. So that was not really my world. I know that there are a couple other Dan Markells actually, who are also members of our temple. They teach different things. I don't know if he was close to them, but that's the only, I'm trying to think of other.
They weren't related?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
no,
that's interesting.
Really random, yeah. Especially that they all ended up at Florida State Law, and they're all members of Shamrei Torah. I do know that at Shamrei Torah...
That's the name of the
temple. Yeah, SHOMREIEI. Yeah, TORAH.
Okay, where is that at?
That's on Cary Forest Parkway. I know he's close with Sam. Trying to think of other people that I'll go through the directory and see if any names are ringing a bell, just in terms of who he spent a lot of time with.
Did you ever hear him talk about firearms or owning a gun or anything like that?
No. We didn't really talk about that. I certainly don't remember him talking about that. But I don't know if that's just because he didn't or because it didn't ever come up.
Right.
I mean, it's not something I generally talk about. I don't know more or anything like that, so. Yeah. I mean, I know. Yeah, trust me, I wish I knew more. You know, we had started to become close. Wendy and I have recently talked more often. My husband and I had separated for several months. And so her and I had started talking during that time. I reached out to her to try and get details on, their kids seemed pretty adjusted for having gone through that. So I reached out to her to try and get tips on how they handled that to make sure that, you know, the kids were okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we decided that Charlie would move back in to deal with some financial stuff. And so she said I could start coming over and staying at the house when she's out of town and things like that. So, I mean, there's been more conversation recently with us, but we haven't seen each other one-on-one. She came to my house yesterday to drop off some clothes that the boys had outgrown for my son, and brought me some soup because I had a bladder procedure yesterday. But that's the first time I've seen her since the party, and the party was the first time I had seen her since.
And the party back in May.
Yeah, in May, and that was the first time I'd seen her in.
So it's been really been, you know, not to sound callous, but it's been more about the conversation. Been more about your situation than what's really going on with her.
Yeah, I mean, she had told me about the boyfriend. Her and I would talk a lot about getting together, and then we just didn't.
Something would happen.
Exactly.
Either my wife does that all the time.
Right.
I'm getting together with so and so, and like it's like an hour or two, and she's like, "Oh yeah, they canceled."
Right. Either I'm tired, or the kids are sick, or there's lots of that, especially at preschool.
Yeah.
So, and we just hadn't really had a chance to do that. We actually talked about it again, doing that next week, when she was over last night. But, and she messaged me this morning talking about the soup, and that was at like 9 o'clock. So, but just asking if it was okay.
I got it written down. What is your?
Yeah.
All right. You know, we're kind of casting a really wide net, so it's hard for me to like focus in and ask.
Right.
Make sure I ask the right questions.
I understand.
So,
feel free to call me if.
Yeah. So, is there anything that, you know, once you heard that something happened? I mean, did something jump out at you? Just says, "Oh, I really wonder about that one thing."
No, I mean, of course, everybody, you know, Scott asked me if Wendy was stable, and, you know, I mean, and I did share with him, and, you know, Dan had told me during the divorce, or right after the divorce, that she had had some depression issues and some postpartum issues, and that they were talking about doing counseling, but that they never did that before she moved out, or changed the locks, whatever. But I mean, I saw her last night, and she seemed fine. She was awkward, but that's because my husband was there, and she didn't, I don't know if she realized that he was going to be there, and
Right.
yeah.
Because of your situation.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
I didn't take that as her being awkward, you know,
Right,
because of her life. You know, and I don't know how much of, obviously I don't want to share things, but I know I can reach out to people at the temple and find out much more of who he
we'll
talk
talk
like
to we'll talk to anybody. I mean,
Okay.
one of these things, if you have information, I mean, it's in I've worked several cases that are similar in this nature where you're just really casting a wide net. Basically, you know, the police will find that out. No. Come make sure.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather have 10 people come here and tell me the same thing than that one person who I really need to talk to doesn't, assuming that we know about it.
Right.
So.
There is a gentleman, Seth Miller, who I know he's close with. I don't know if he would have a better idea of who Dan would talk to at the school, and his wife works at the law library. But I mean, him and I were talking, and he's like, I really don't talk with Dan about anything personal. We kind of stay out of.
Did you guys ever talk? You and Dan ever talk about any kind of cases or anything that he was working on, or anything that he seemed passionate about, or anything like that?
No, but I mean anything criminal law. Well, any of that is.
Apparently, he was working on a case, or was concerned about something that had happened up in New York. I guess there's a case going on where rabbis were charged, like 4 rabbis were charged with like torturing husbands who were refusing to divorce in the Jewish faith or whatever. Okay. Are you familiar with any of that stuff?
But that wouldn't surprise me that he would be involved in something like that.
How's that?
Yeah, I mean,
just because of his.
The faith. I mean, he's very involved in the Jewish faith. Plus, he lived in New York, there's that's
so
kind of the world of his
straight
crossing.
So it would be fascinating for his religious and
criminal
professional beliefs.
Yeah, but also with as much time as he's been spending up there, it wouldn't surprise me if
he's trying to get involved in
that. And then also if maybe one of his students up there, or maybe the woman he's been dating, who I'm 99% sure is also Jewish, knew some of these people, or it wouldn't surprise me if some of these, if there's a more personal connection. But that's kind of everything that definitely melds all of his passions into a case like that.
Can you pull up that Facebook thing again? I want to write down his blog thing.
Yeah, it's
I saw it earlier today. And I was like,
Prawfsblog. PRAWFSBLOG.
Say it again.
AW. Hold on. Let me actually, let me just take my phone. And do you know the woman's name?
The girlfriend?
He's been dating up there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
Do you?
I didn't, no. He just said he was dating a new girl, and
so Prawfsblog, now that I take a second, this is like the Boston slang professor's blog. Okay, I'm so stupid.
No. You're not in
I
that
read
world.
I read that earlier and I was like, man, that doesn't make a damn sense. I don't know what that is. I'll figure it out later. Okay.
It probably was the
a joke.
Or the Prawfsblog with PROFSBLOG had already been taken or something like that, so we had to come up with some variation.
Changed a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I just didn't know if there was people, if I couldn't reach out to people, if you didn't want me to,
No, just say, hey, listen, the police are looking to talk to anybody and everybody, so if you feel comfortable, give them a call.
Okay.
That's my name. My number's on the back. It's my desk phone. Where is it?
That one? Okay.
So if I don't answer, leave a message. Feel free, in the world of great technology, email me. I will probably get that quicker.
Okay.
Especially if we're out in the field or I'm at home or whatever. So.
Okay. How's it looking? Or can I not answer that?
It's too early to tell.
Okay.
So, and unfortunately, we got to keep a lot of stuff to ourselves and everything. So.
I understand.
So people will probably ask you, just keep our conversation.
Yeah.
To here for now.
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah, feel free to call me anytime.
I will.
I got your number, and
Yeah, I wish I'd seen him more often recently.
That's okay.
On many levels. All right.